Good morning, you all. Good morning, Sharona.
Good morning, Tamar, and good morning to everyone.
It's nice to start again, another day.
We start again another day, and the best way to start a day, make that connection with our strength, which happens to be our beauty and our goodness.
So we'll start with a minute of inner peace. Go inside ourselves.
I turn my attention inwards, not to the crazy mind, the unsettled mind, but beyond that. Just by giving myself this thought that there is an inner sanctuary, I can arrive there, past any crazy thoughts, unhappy thoughts, doubts, worries, concerns. And I can sit in this sanctuary and be served like any holy place can touch us deeply and nourish us.
So, what do we have for today? What is our thought for today?
Thought for today is a little thought-provoking. The present is a mirror of the future.
The present is the mirror of the future. It's even upsetting, not only provoking. Is that an elevated thought?
It definitely is.
How do we take it to an elevated thought? I'm kidding because I know we're going to talk about a little bit that concept, but the basic instinct of what the knowledge we know, we want to change. So if the present is the mirror of the future, what change are we doing?
Right. That's right. So there are probably at least two different pairs of glasses, or two different pairs of ears we have to put on to understand the power in this thought. And maybe the first set of ears or first pair of glasses would have something to do with the power of one. So, for example, Gandhi, he was one. And the whole movement that he founded was because of a very terrible circumstance that he found himself in. He was discriminated against in a horrible way, living in an environment and a culture which took discrimination for granted. Nobody much was questioning it. At least those questioning it were silent. We didn't hear them. And a whole country was running on the basis of discrimination. Gandhi. He actually had to get off the train. They threw him off the train because that train was not for Indians. It was in another country. He was not in India at that time. But Gandhi was tuned into a natural law, a truth, which is that we are all created equal. Discrimination is wrong, can't be justified. And that's where the power came from. He had his finger on a truth, and he was just one. But continuing to work with that thought, he attracted, it emerged, that thought in others, because it's a truth. And then see the kind of change that evolved from that. Literally, a whole country was able to throw off another governing force. So the present is a mirror to the future, only to the extent that I'm seeing on the screen of my mind, in the hall of my heart, the future that I want. And then I start acting upon it and acting from it. Here, now, in the present, I have a vision of the future, which is what is wanted, what is true. And I start aligning my thoughts, my words, and my actions from that. And then that present is a mirror of the future.
So what we're talking about is bringing the future today, not waiting for something to happen, but seeing what we want. It's like a crystal ball, actually, the future. And then when we want, we put the picture in it. That's what you're saying. We put the picture and then we start acting. And I'm trying to think of ways, we use it a lot in trying to manifest the future. So a lot of times people say, you want to feel like you're it, be it now.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult task. It's not an easy task.
Yeah.
You want to feel like you're married, act, think, behave. You want to feel like you're a very rich person, act, feel, behave. It's very difficult to tap into those future moments.
Right.
And bring the vibrations here today.
Right. And personally, I feel that all the wisdom, the adages, the old folks' sayings about this have less to do with manifesting something gross, like I want to be the boss of the company, or I want a Mercedes Benz. It's less about that and more about a vibrational change. I want there to be peace. I want there to be happiness. I want there to be healthy relationships. So they say, another one of these beautiful expressions, be the change that you want to see in the world. That's more like what we're talking about. Because at the end of the day, it's all vibrational.
And I think that's the point, the vibrations. Because I remember one time, I really wanted to lose weight because I think sometimes we use the outside world as a mirror to ourselves, as an indication, and it helps us. I'm sure they didn't mean for like you said, it's not for the outside world, it's more for the inner. But we use the outer in order to understand, in order to feel. And I remember that time I really wanted to lose weight. And I was, there's diets and a lot of things, and you try all kinds of eating, exercising, anything. And I remember one day when I was thinking, and I was, I always imagined, well, I'll be thin, I'll be happy, I'll be dancing, I'll have energy, right? And then from another point at all, because I was trying to feel and be happy, dancing, full of energy, and I was working towards that. I was working on how to feel my energy, how to be with elevated mood. And I just remember me walking through the mirror, very happy. My weight was not changed. It was the same weight. But I told myself, I remember myself stopping in the front of the mirror and saying, if that's how I'm gonna feel, I don't care about my weight. I'm done. I'm happy. And I think that's the vibration. We have the outer world to help us sometimes want to achieve things and see, but truthfully, it's what you said. It's working towards the vibration.
It also kind of just points us in the direction of a very essential and necessary truth that what's going on externally is going to be a product of what's going on internally. So it's almost like, somehow what I really mean to say is that really, is it going to be all about losing weight or getting those teeth straight or that hair perfect? Or is it going to be more about this happiness, a kind of happiness which is absolutely independent of anything external? And I can tell you from my experience, you look at the world today and you see the situations and the things going on. There's so much collapse. We know. Where to draw that happiness from, where to draw that peace from vibrationally, so that the present inside me can ultimately manifest in the future. And again, it doesn't matter what anybody else is saying or doing when there's this power of one. One will attract others, and you don't need everybody doing the change. You need enough doing the change. And that, of course, requires that you're working with the real change. Real change would be, yes, I am accessing another source. So the peace I want for myself and my friends and my country, the love, the joy, I'm truly drawing that from what? For me, I've been recognizing this recently. It's got to be a relationship with the divine. Honestly, I had a disappointment the other day. I was disappointed about something. And I have a lot of knowledge about a larger picture to put that disappointment in and erase it. There's no reason to be disappointed because of X, Y, Z, A, B, C. Everybody's playing their parts, all these things. I have all that knowledge. And I can't say that my heart was overwhelmed with disappointment, but I acknowledged it. I felt it. And I had no way of erasing it other than just to place myself in the loving wavelength, like arms of the divine. It's that love which comforts. We need a place to put ourselves in comfort. Our mind needs a place to rest in comfort. And I honestly don't know how that can be in a world like we have today, in scenes like we have today, unless we begin to get more acquainted with the whole world that surrounds us and is not accessed through the physical senses.
But it's it's a great task, but it has its catch. It's catch, because a lot of people see sometimes the divine or even the creation, doesn't matter if they see it as they can see it in many ways, because you see it as the arms that hug you. Some people see it as more rigid or more demanding, and it just gives them toe. It doesn't give them strength sometimes.
Mhm.
And I think developing your relationship with the creation or the divine differently than what relationships are, or
Right.
just imagine what a good relationship is.
That's right.
And it could be, I remember when I first met you, you were talking about relationship not only with a father, but also with a son, also with a coworker, and anybody else. All kinds of relationships are in that one, like you say. And how do we get to these good relationships? How can people imagine good relationships when they see something else
Right.
or experience?
It's a study.
Yeah.
It's a study. I mean, we really need more information about the one above. We need more information about how I, as a spirit, as a being, am truly made in the image of that one. What is the image of that one? Like, for example, that picture behind me, that point, beautiful point of light, that's how I understand is the divine, the supreme. And then I'm also just that beautiful, sparkly point. So we need more knowledge, we need more study, but what I think is the precursor to that is that I'm ready to admit that the knowledge I'm working with, which could be vast and very useful, is not enough. That these times actually are to invite me to give permission to experiment and explore some other avenues. And with that, we can start looking around and seeing what else can complement my understandings of the divine, and especially my relationship with the divine. And that's, I think, the only thing actually that's going to allow us to come out of the hole that we, humanity, have dug ourselves into.
Okay, so I remember because you were saying once, I was happy about something. Don't remember what it was exactly. Something in the external. And you said, you said, if I'm dependent, I don't want to be dependent on it. If I'm dependent when something good happens outside, then what happens when something bad happens outside?
Mhm.
And I don't want to be dependent on it. And it really got me thinking. And what we're talking about when we say create the future today, it's independent of what's going on around. It cannot be, we know where we're living, we're in all those crises, but we need to get our powers from something above. And that means developing a good relationship. Developing a good relationship with the divine. And I think that's something we can practice.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
Seeing him as a loving parent, seeing him as a good teacher, seeing, there's a lot of ways to see
Friend.
it. A friend, a good friend. But just imagine that and start developing this relationship and tune into it more and more.
That's right. That's right. But knowledge is needed. Knowledge is needed. I mean, you can experiment, but it's good to expose yourself to some more information. Different paths offer different information. And mostly that's what we need. It's like if you want to go and meet someone or develop a relationship with him, you have to learn about him. You're going to learn about him or her, because I can tell you long before, at least in my experience, long before God is Father, God is Mother. In other words, you might have had not a good relationship with your mother, but this mother is the perfect mother, only love, Those arms are always there, means rays of light, which feel like arms. That forgiveness, acceptance, pure pride of the mother is always there. But it is not a power to take lightly, and I do believe it is the power which is going to enable us to be one or a small group. As we sow, so we shall reap. And this power is so immense that it'll move us into a whole new day, all of us, not just those who did this work.
Hmm. So I think, you know, when I'm thinking we need the knowledge, we can start by thinking about, you know, a person. I always use reality in order to go higher and deeper. But take the best relationship you had or can imagine and start acting with that. Start giving yourself the power that you usually can give others or you want to give yourself. Start playing with this relationship and feeling how to feel yourself. What do you need?
Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking of somebody who is very dear to you, what will be the feelings in the heart and what will be the thoughts in the head? And that's a good start.
Yeah. Okay.
All
So
right.
take our minute.
Yeah. All you really need to do is give yourself the chance to be a flower. And allow that flower to turn to the sun. A very joyous union. And it's never sure who loves more. The flower loving the sun, or the sun loving the flower. Beautiful union of love.
Hmm. That's a good picture to take with us to the weekend.
Yeah, truly it is.
Yeah.
Okay, my dear. Om
Thank you
Shanti,
all. Om
everyone.
Shanti and see you on Sunday.
See you.
Bye bye.
Bye.